we're here today because we believe that an education system that is informed by its primary practitioners is a better system for everybody. For the last 10 years, I taught in this city, both in public schools and in charter schools. And in the first months in DCPS, I heard something from more than one student that really shook me. You won't be here next year, they said. People can't handle us. They all run for the door. So it was heartbreaking. And over my tenure, I started to notice that so many teachers that I had deep respect for, the teachers who were there for 2 years, the teachers who had been there for 20 years, were leaving the school, and the students they loved so much. And knowing their stories, there was something I couldn't let sit about that. The students thought it was them. And so seemingly did everybody in the outside world. Teachers leave the school because it's hard to teach at a high poverty school. They leave because it's so challenging to work with these challenging students. That's what I heard again and again. And not a single teacher I knew left for that reason. The thing that was holding them there year after year was the joy of working with those students. What was driving them out were adult issues. Disagreements with school leaders, not feeling empowered in curricular choices, not having a voice in their school. And so I started Empower Ed with the determination that if we could solve those adult issues, then we could have great teachers in the schools that need them most and serve the students that we're all here to serve. And that's what our students deserve. So they need amazing adult mentors in their lives. They need leaders that affect them not only inside the classroom, but outside the classroom with the guidance they provide, with the role models that they are to look up to, and the lessons they prescribe, the lessons they teach that are not prescribed by the curriculum that they get every day, the teachable moments in and outside of the classroom. So I believe if we value people first and foremost, then our daunting problems are a lot more manageable. One of the leading authorities in staff motivation and teaching, Todd Whitaker, said it's the people, not the programs, that determine the quality of a school. We can try new strategies and new initiatives, new slogans, or we can invest in people. Increase retention and trust, build our schools and our communities, and build them to be schools that our communities can believe in and invest in. So that's why we're here. As the Center for Teacher Quality has said, teachers continue to exist in what is essentially a semi-profession, in which standards of practice are determined by non-practitioners. Brad Weinstein said, if students pass a test but they don't care about the content, we've created compliance, not engagement. Meanwhile, if teachers meet evaluation expectations, but they don't love their work, we've created compliance, not engagement. The great leader of schools, Danny Steele, said principals can't make teachers buy in. The best leaders build relationships, and then the teachers choose to buy in. Great leaders know that if they invest in their people and they give them time and they give them trust, their school will succeed. Their culture will succeed. And so while many principals ask their teachers to commit to staff expectations or some kind of oath that they write at the beginning of the year, Danny Steele does something different at his school. He asks the teachers to write their own oath. What are they committing to? Why are they there? And we know it's essential to treat our students as individuals who have real emotions, but too often we fail to do this with our educators. We love instructional walks and observations, evaluations, but how about dropping into the classroom, no agenda, just to build a relationship with the teachers and the people that you're there to serve, your students. As David Guerin said, principal of a national blue ribbon school, he said, an effective leader doesn't try to fix people or to change them. An effective leader creates an environment where people can grow and change themselves. Get the conditions right and get out of the way. Perhaps most importantly, building trust with educators begins with this foundation, the assumption that we all want what is best for students. I've read a lot of principal do and don'ts lists over the course of time, but there's one don't that appears on every single list that I've seen. And that is, I'll let Dr. Amy Fast explain it. I struggle, she says, when leaders justify doing something that dismisses or hurts teachers by arguing it's all about the kids. To help students thrive, we must take good care of their teachers. Teachers who are trusted, inspired, empowered are likely to do the same for their students, taking care of people. We also need to listen to the voices of our primary practitioners when we make policy. According to the Gallup State of the American Workforce Survey, teachers were dead last of every profession measured by Gallup to say that they have a voice in the workplace. Dead last. Obviously, we can do better than that. The organization Educators for Excellence, which does teacher voice work similar to ours nationwide, surveyed educators nationwide just 2 months ago and found that 96% of teachers wish there were more opportunities for them to influence education policy. Those are the voices in a profession that sadly is not informed by its primary practitioners and those closest to students every day. So we can and we will change that in Washington, D.C. and that's what we're here to do. And once a year, whether it's for a day or a week, we celebrate our teacher appreciation. We celebrate them with food and drinks and public praise and lots of prizes. But today we commit to celebrating them every day in a way that values them and the work that they do in the classroom and out of the classroom every day. So we also know that if we want diverse voices to be involved in our policy conversation, we have to make those conversations more accessible. And that means full transparency. We believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant and that our public schools must be public to succeed. Public schools are the bedrocks of our communities. And in a time where we meet each other more frequently online than in person, it's critical that there's this one institution where everybody gets to be together for, now that we have pre-K3, for 15 years, right? So we have 15 years where we get to be face-to-face. And a lot of times we take our phones now, so we're really face-to-face, right? And it's one of the few places in our lives that we're actually face-to-face. So this institution is precious. It's precious to our neighborhoods. It's precious to the people who make up our neighborhoods. And that's why we fight to make sure that we defend quality neighborhood schools so that they can reflect the diversity of the neighborhoods that they serve. We also have to make sure that the students, the teachers, the community members, the parent, that everyone who's invested in that community has an equal say in how to make that better. And we know we can't sustain our schools without making sure that our schools have stability. So that's why we put the issue of turnover front and center. How can a principal implement a plan for their school or develop effective professional development when a third of their teaching staff is leaving every year? How can the district build momentum when the same is happening with principal retention? Research shows that not only does teacher turnover have a deep personal effect on students, as we're going to hear shortly, but it hurts student achievement, and burned out teachers who remain have a chilling effect on the rest of the students. Research shows it increases student dropouts. A principal in another state recently lost 2/3 of her staff in a single year, and she wrote about her experience. She said, "I was taken aback at the fleeing of my teacher, so I invited all of them who remained out to dinner together. And I said, 'Why did so many people leave, but you guys decided to stay?' 'We were the ones you invested in,' they said. 'We were the ones you trusted. We were the ones you gave leadership to. We were the ones you showed you cared about personally.' We become obsessed with data. We all want to be data-driven, but we forget to be people-driven. Often, if we're data-driven and not people-driven, our initiatives, as great as they sound on paper, will fail. And data only matters if it's informed by real human experience, right? If what our students say, if what our teachers say in the classroom, if what our principals say is what the data reflects. So listening to teacher voice and acting on it can help drive real lived experiences in our school. In a recent survey of DCPS principals, 77% viewed it as important for them to be able to share leadership with their teachers. After all, it makes their job easier too. And there's so much we can do to empower teachers in our school. So just a few things that we're working on. One, we can give teachers release time to take on challenges and lead in solving them. Not just curriculum, but all kinds of leadership opportunities. Teacher prep programs can begin to prepare teachers for how to be involved in school decision-making and creating a healthier adult culture in schools. Administrators can take on the challenge, this is one of my favorites, of teaching one class themselves every year. And I thought about becoming an administrator, and I didn't do it because I couldn't teach a class, right? I didn't want to leave teaching. That was my fear about doing this, right? And if everybody, imagine the trust that would be created if all administrators had a class of their own. And when they were having conversations with their teachers, we were talking about the same students that we both serve. One class, 1 hour a day. We can involve teachers in the planning and education of professional development courses that happen at schools. We can make the jobs of both teachers and principals more sustainable. And principals, I know will give an amen for here. Work-life balance, right? We've gotten to a place where our work-life balance is completely out of whack. And I know there's a lot of principals who wanted to be here today who can't because, man, do they need Saturday when they get to the end of the week. So Empower Ed works with schools to help them do exactly that and elevate diverse teacher voices to inform better district policy. Our Teacher Council is an intentionally diverse group of educators from across the city. It's geographically diverse, racially diverse, coming from all school levels, and it's evenly split between DCPS and our charter sector as our city is. So these amazing group of educators are leading the way to making our education system more equitable, and Empower Ed is working to elevate their voices. So today you'll hear from all these amazing teacher action groups working to advance the issues they care about and issues and causes they care about because they're critical in making our city more equitable. This past summer in a series of education town halls, council member and chair of the education committee David Grasso put forward student voice And students discussed their feelings of being unsafe in their school communities. They discussed the damage of unfair, punitive student discipline. And at every town hall, I heard this one thing repeated. We need teachers who trust us, who stay with us, and who look like us. Empower Ed is investing in solutions to make that possible for all DC students. And so we're very glad that you're here today to join us in that work. And we're going to hear to start today from, I think, the most important people we can hear from, students and their teachers. And so before we do that, I just want to give a brief introduction to an incredible champion and advocate for teachers in this city who's here joining us today. And that is Councilmember Robert White, who's just been an incredible ally on the City Council, both on the City Council and as a person, in how he relates to people, knows people, and every word that I said about how we have to treat individuals as humans is something this man has done and believes in. So thank you for being here. I'll turn it over to Councilmember White.